Hey everyone, I think I'm live. Welcome to a very impromptu live stream on a Sunday afternoon at 12:30. This is not going to be a long stream, so I just wanted to do some testing and see what's going on. So this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's a little cold out here, so I'm having a little coffee. Hopefully you guys can hear me. And yeah, so this is a test stream. I've been wanting to test from my front porch for a while. I thought about doing it using my drone because my drone can send RTMP footage directly to YouTube. However, I never really got the audio piece worked out with that. So again, streaming from the outside here has been something that I've been wanting to do, but never really had the push. But today I had the push because for the last week I have been testing something called Mr. Net, which is a cellular bonding router. So I'm streaming to you right now live only through the Mr. Net using the 3 cellular connections, the T-Mobile, the Verizon, and the AT&T. My setup is very basic. I can't hear you fine. Oh, I do apologize for that. Can you hear me at all though? Or you can hear me? Okay, I read my comment wrong. Sorry. Again, this is not my usual setup, so thank you for letting me know, Matthew. Appreciate you being here. Like I said, I don't know that I'll expect too many people. This was just impromptu, not scheduled. It's just I set up a bunch of gear outside here on my front porch so that I can go live basically to test the Mr. Net box, which I have down on the floor. So again, hopefully the signal is okay. Hopefully the picture looks okay. And according to Matthew, they can hear me. Hello, TVJ. Hello, Keith Bennett. I can't put comments on the screen for this. Again, the only gear I have out here right now to do this test stream of Mr. Net is I have my Canon DSLR that I used to have in the studio before I got the Sony FX30. And then over there, which you can't see, it's off camera, I brought down my A10 Mini Extreme so that I can at least have a little monitor, because I can't see from here to the camera, the little flip monitor. So I have a little conference monitor over there. Just let me know that my picture is stable, because that camera's HDMI port is a little wonky now. It's a couple of years old, so every once in a while it'll stop sending the HDMI feed out. So that's basically all that camera is over there, is to let me know that I still have a video going out to YouTube. And so I got the camera, the DSLR, I have the A10 Extreme, the little confidence monitor, and then down on the ground I have the Mr. Net box. And again, the only internet connection is via Mr. Net, T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon. Again, this is not going to be a super long stream. Let me just say hello to a few people in the chat real quick. And of course, I do have my coffee because it's about 50 degrees out here. It's not too bad if you're out in the sun, but it is a little cold on the porch here in the shade. So in any event, let me say hello to a couple of folks. Matthew says, I can hear you fine. Thank you, Matthew. Hi, Keith. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you. TVJ, hello. On the porch with Mr. Net. Yes, I am on the porch with Mr. Net. It is right down here. I don't have my handheld cam available to show you because I didn't want to bring a lot of gear down from upstairs to just get this done. This was more about testing the Mr. Net. But yes, it's right down here. Hopefully it looks okay. Jay says it looks and sounds good. Matthew says picture is great. Keith says looks great. Live, Canon, yep. Ashley, love this set. Yeah, I know, right? It's pretty cool. I'm in the corner. I have my little table here. So Do you take any joy in not letting me know when you're going live? Well, I am so sorry, Joe. I didn't really know I was going live, but I know that I need to get the Mr. Net back to Motion Ray soon. So today's kind of a nice day. I don't know what the next couple of days are going to be. So I said, let me set up. Let me do this final test that I wanted to do, and we'll go from there. I thought about using the little power box that you gave me so that I can maybe go completely off grid. But I ended up having to power the camera, powering the ATEM Extreme, powering the Mr. Net. So I was a little leery because I wasn't sure how long that little box would last supporting those three devices. So I decided to make the set right here on the corner of the porch. There's an outlet behind me, and yeah, so we're good. But I am totally streaming over Mr. Net. Keith Bennett, Tony on the porch live. What is your lighting? Natural lighting, Keith. There is no lighting. I have no lights on the front porch. I have the ISO set on the Canon to 100, and I had to up the f-stop to, I believe I am on, hold on, I'll let you know. I'm on f4.5 to get somewhat of a decent shot, and I hope it looks all right. Like I said, I didn't test really anything other than getting the camera looking somewhat decent, because when I first brought it out with the studio settings that I used to use, it was just one big blur of white glare, right? It was way too bright out here. So Joe says, we texted like 30 minutes ago. I know. And in that 30 minutes, I was contemplating whether I was going to do this or not. And I know better than to say, Joe, I'm thinking about going live, because then I'd be committed to going live. So sometimes in certain situations, less is better. Anyway, thanks, Keith. Appreciate it. You must have been setting this up while you were talking to me. No, I was not. I was thinking about it while I was talking to you, but I was not setting it up. And interesting, considering I didn't schedule this or let anybody know, I just went live. I got 7 viewers on a 12:35 on a Sunday afternoon, so that's pretty good. At one point, we had 8 viewers. So in any event, I am streaming from the Mr. Net, and so far, it looks pretty good. I have no way of monitoring at this point what the ATEM's doing as far as the bit rate that it's sending. I have it set to streaming high, so I'm assuming I'm sending somewhere between 5 and 6. Again, I'm using the monitor over there to my right as a confidence monitor just to make sure that I'm still getting a signal from the HDMI out of my camera, because again, that port on that camera is a couple of years old and it's a little wonky. And so yeah, so it's not like I can see the multi-view to let me know that the cache is okay, but I'm assuming everything is good. So, and with that said, yes, this is going to be a short stream. I'm not cutting it off yet. I figured if I'm going to go live, I might as well touch on a few things left over from the Friday night stream that people asked me to follow up with. So hold on one second. Got to stay warm. All right, so one of the things folks wanted me to stay up with was that last poll that we did, whether or not people have a second backup internet service provider set up as a failover. So we're going to go to that poll now because we only had like 30 votes Friday. So a few days later now we're up to 90 votes. And again, the question was, do you currently have a second internet provider in your residence set up as a failover? It was three options: yes, no, or no, but I've been thinking about it. So 22% say yes, 65% say no, and 12% say no, but been thinking about it. And there were 3 comments on that particular poll. Bob Carpenter said, I'm home-based for work and downtime is expensive. So I'm assuming he has a backup then based on that comment. I'm assuming he answered the poll as well. Catherine Hauserman says, no, I do not, but each time the internet cuts out because of my ISP, I sure do wish I did, though. And then somebody commented, that's a Trump economy luxury. No one has that anymore. LOL. So that's the update on the poll. You can see, by the way, that I'm not hacking as much as I was hacking Friday night. So I am actually feeling much, much better. It's still there a little bit, but it's better overall. So anybody have any comments while I'm here live? I have 1 or 2 more things to touch on, and I am going to wrap this up eventually because I know there are those of you out there that do watch, start watching the streamers that go on at 11 and 1 and things like that. So, but if you have any questions, let me know. All right. So picture quality still good, audio still decent. Has it broken up at all? Has it pixelated at all? Let me know. All right, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was just another update on the Kiloview shipping fiasco. So I left off with you guys on Friday. Now, if you didn't see that Friday stream, I'm not going to go through the whole story, but just if you're here for the first time and hearing this, I had to send back an encoder from Kiloview that stopped working after 6 months. They agreed to do an RMA, but they dropped the entire shipping responsibility back to them on me instead of making it easy for me and sending me a prepaid label, a slap on the box. That's about all I'm going to say as far as the fiasco is concerned. If you're interested on really getting the details of the fiasco, tune into last Friday's stream, I believe February 2nd, and you'll get the whole story. But in any event, I left off saying to you that the FedEx guy was here, and he was kind of flabbergasted by the fact that he went to scan the box with his handheld scanner, and there was no label on it because they didn't supply me a label. In any event, I wrote. He took the box. He said he'll let Depot deal with it when he gets it back to the depot. All they gave me was a commercial invoice, and he said he'll let the folks at the depot deal with it. And that was it. He took the box, and I had no proof that the box was picked up. So I emailed folks over at Kiloview, and I told them exactly what happened. And I said I don't want to be held responsible, that the whole thing has been a fiasco from the start. And they simply wrote back, let's see if I could find that email. They simply wrote back to me saying, what did they write? I know it's here. Just give me a sec. Da 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 da. Okay. Well, I can't find the exact email. Because it's been such a fiasco, the thread is like miles long. But they basically said, yes, Tony, no worries. We will take it from here. So there you go. We'll see what happens. Now, they said they were going to RMA it. We'll see if I get another one. I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to push it, but anyway. And yeah, I see that we still have 7 people here, but only 1 like. So either you guys really can't stand this stream, or you're just still not fully awake. So do me a favor and hit that like button. If we have 7 people here, I'd like to see maybe at least 5 to 6 likes. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off now because that means I'm not doing my job. But anyway, all right. Let me see what the comments have to say here. What's your lighting? Looks amazing. So you have been setting? No, I have not been setting this. I wasn't setting this up while I was talking to you. TVJ says, can you go live from outside every time? I could, but it'll just be basically me sitting here with no other shots, and that would get kind of boring after a while. And I don't think my wife, who thinks I'm nuts to begin with for doing this, I don't think my wife will appreciate me taking over the porch and making a studio out of it, because then I would have to put up wrought iron fencing across the front to keep people out overnight. But I will tell you, you had to see the look on her face when she came home. She was out at the store just picking up some groceries for today's dinner, and she comes pulling in the driveway, and I got all this stuff just about ready to go, and she just looks at me and goes, so yeah, she thinks I'm not playing with a full deck, but I've been wanting to do this, so here I am. All right, let's see. TVJ says no breakup. Keith says yes. How is business? I have not seen any drop frames. Yes, question mark. How is business? I have not seen any drop frames. Business is good. It was a little slow this past week by choice because I wasn't feeling well. But I have to say, it was probably, this is the 7th year now since I've formed the L.L.C. with Quik Tech Solutions, L.L.C., and obviously, and this was probably the busiest January I've ever had. So I'm kind of welcoming, not getting sick, but welcoming the fact that I did not have to go out and work last week. So Practical IT says, I didn't expect to find you live today. Yeah, that's the cool thing about me. You never know what I'm going to do because I always kind of keep people guessing. But in all honesty, Jeremy, I'm testing the Mr. Net. This stream is coming to you completely over cellular bonding out on my front porch. That's hence the very laid back, minimal set. But yeah, it looks like, according to YouTube, going on almost 18 minutes. And according to what folks are saying in the chat, there's been absolutely no interruptions in the stream. So I'm very happy about that, for sure. Plus, I'm curious to kind of see what kind of data charges I rack up doing this when it's all said and done, depending on how long it goes. Because just the testing that I did with it, which I didn't think was much. I did some testing Wednesday and Thursday, but really just minimal testing. And then the little bit that I cut over to it on Friday night's live stream, and when I looked at the usage summary for that time period, it was just over 3 gig. So as far as the data charges, I'm up at, prior to this stream, I'm up to about $24 in data charges. So in any event, curious because I knew where I was at the start of this stream, and if this stream goes 30 minutes or 40 minutes, whatever the stream goes, I'm going to log back into the portal later and take a look and see how much data doing this straight for that amount of time uses up. So let's say, hey, David from PE for Doers, thanks for joining. We got 9 people here, 4 likes. I should go back to not scheduling my streams. I do better this way. TVJ wants to know, what is for dinner? Can I come over? Absolutely. If you jump on a plane now, you should make it by the time it comes out of the oven. Lisa is making a baked eggplant parmesan and a salad. So I have to be careful with even though the eggplant parmesan is baked, it will be smothered with cheese. So I have to kind of be very selective about the portion that I take. So, but I guess at least it's better than being fried. I've been really, really, really careful with this diet. In fact, Friday was 1 month to the first day I got on the scale. And I normally do a cheat day once a week when I change my lifestyle and my eating habits to a healthier eating and lifestyle. But because I didn't like the starting weight that I was at, I said to myself, I am not going to give myself a cheat day until 1 solid month. So technically, Friday was 1 month, January 2nd to February 2nd. And I had already planned on that cheat day that I was going to go up. There's a new Italian restaurant that I found about 35 minutes from here. And I was there the week after New Year's, like just a couple of days with a couple of buddies. And I was Caesar salad. That was it, chicken Caesar salad. But my buddy ordered a sausage and pepper sandwich and a slice of pizza, and they both looked freaking amazing. So I said to myself, once I hit that 30-day goal of no cheating, I am going to have my cheat day, and that's where I'm going on Friday, February 2nd, I'm going for that sausage and pepper sandwich. But as it turns out, as you guys were with me on Friday night, you could see I was sick. So all week I really haven't had much of an appetite, but I'm doing really well and I'm sticking to it, and I'm down probably about 15 pounds since January 2nd. So I'm actually very inspired, and I think my goal is going to be probably in reach, but I know it's going to start to slow down. In fact, this week I never even made it to the gym because I didn't feel up to it. So I got to get back to doing that as well. But yes, you may come for dinner. All right. TVJ says, are you going for a ride today, referencing your shirt? No, TVJ. I don't feel up to it as far as that's concerned. I still got what's going on in my chest going on, just not as much as Friday. And as far as the shirt's concerned, like I said, it's about 49, 50 degrees out here right now. So it's just a question of trying to keep warm on the front porch because I'm in the shade, not in the sun. And yeah, I mean, when you ride a Harley, you don't only ride a Harley. It's not a hobby. It's a lifestyle as well. So, I mean, everything is Harley. I have more Harley clothing and more Harley jackets and T-shirts and Harley wallets and paraphernalia than you can imagine. The only other actual sweatshirt I have is one that my daughter gave me when my grandson was born, and it says Poppy on it. And I didn't really think I wanted to come out and do this live that says Poppy. So, although I should have. If he was here with me and she let me put him on camera, I would have worn the Poppy sweatshirt, but Harley works for me. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, caught up with the comments. 9 people here, 5 likes. Guys, do me a favor. If you're just got here, smash that like button. We are going for 23 minutes. What else did I want to talk about since I figured I'd be doing this? We talked about the poll update. We talked about the kill of you shipping. This test stream is really all about the Mr. Net, which is down on the ground. I want to see how it performs. I'm going to watch this back after the fact. So I had a little issue with my network, my router configuration, and I only found this out after Friday's live stream. So let me give you a little bit of a history for those who aren't aware. And I apologize for those of you who are aware that you have to hear it again. But about 2 months ago, I reconfigured my Edge router to have a second WAN set up as failover. And I did it all through the command line, which for me, that was huge. And there wasn't any content out there on YouTube as far as how to do it, aside from all the videos that show you how to do it with using the setup wizard, which when you use the setup wizard, it completely blows away the existing router config and you're starting over from scratch. I didn't want to do that because this router's been in production for a couple of years. I've made lots of changes to it over those 2 years, so I wasn't about to lose everything the way it was configured. So I needed to figure out how to do this. I know it could be done, and the only real documentation out there was from Ubiquiti, and it was helpful, and it got me there at the time what I thought was 100%, but it was really only like 90%, and I wouldn't have known if I didn't test this Mr. Net on Friday night's live stream. So what was happening was when I when I pulled the plug Friday night on the first ISP, the router switched over to failover mode, which kicked in the Mr. Net. No problem. Everything was working fine. I went and I plugged back in. And if you want to see all this, just go check out Friday's live stream, February 2nd. I plugged the main ISP back into the router, and it kicked over. It failed back, and I was like, wow, we're cool. Then I noticed that after the fact, I had shut down the Mr. Net knowing that we were back over on the main ISP, and what had happened was the main LAN failed back over, but the VLANs that I had set up did not. And I didn't know this until my wife said, couldn't watch TV anymore because my TVs are on the IoT network. And I was like, oh, wow, that's really weird. So I restarted the Edge router, and of course that fixed the problem. So then I did a little testing yesterday during the day, and I kept cutting over to the Mr. Net and failing back and doing trace routes and pings, and realized that we're still live. I just saw the little viewfinder on the camera go dead, but it looks like we're still live based on the confidence monitor. So I did all this testing, and what I came up with was the fact that as long as the backup ISP, in this case Mr. Net, was on, if I turned it off, which was a problem. So what was happening was the VLANs were sticking to the second ISP where they weren't failing back, only the main LAN was. So inadvertently, when I shut off the Mr. Net the other night, there was no path out to the internet for those VLANs. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that until I tested, and I said, I'm going to leave Mr. Net on this time and see what happens. And sure enough, the main LAN went back over, but the VLANs stayed on with Mr. Net running. They had a path out to the internet, and I tested it, and I confirmed that with a trace route. So now I was like, what's going on? Why is that happening? And so anyway, long story short, it turns out that when I did the configuration a couple of months ago, I only applied the load balancing firewall rule to the main LAN. It never even occurred to me, and that's my oversight, it never even occurred to me that I had to apply that load balancing firewall rule to all of the VLANs as well. Dominic was in my live stream Friday night. Dominic was also in Jeremy's after party live stream after my stream on Friday, and offered to send me his config because he said he had stumbled with the same problem. And I looked through his config, but after a while, it kind of pointed me also in the right direction. But after a while, when you start to look at that stuff, especially me, it all starts to blur together. Like I had both configs side by side, and I'm going like this, and line by line, and I didn't pick it up. So I reached out to Willie Howe, and Willie said, sure, Tony, no problem. Send me your config. And I sent it to him, and literally within half an hour, he texts back and he's like, you left out the firewall balance rules on the virtual interfaces. And I went, oh man, it was that simple, but I didn't see it. I didn't think of it when I did the initial configuration. So I applied that firewall to all of those interfaces, to all the VLANs, and poof, problem solved. So thank you, Willie Howe, for always being there for me when I need you. And if you're watching, Thank you. I appreciate you. You know that. So yeah, so that's my story on my VLAN. So I'm happy to report that my Edge router now is working properly and as expected. All right, let's go back to the comments. We're going to start wrapping this up soon. Otherwise, I'm going to be owing a hell of a lot of money in data charges. Let's see, Practical IT. If I were going to get a bike, I'd want an Indian. Fair enough. I have a friend who has a beautiful red Indian Chief. He rides with us every week when we do our regular weekly rides. Gorgeous bike. So this is the ATEM encoder. That must mean it is a good connection. Yes, this is the ATEM Extreme encoder. So 2 reasons for bringing the Extreme downstairs out here. I thought about you. The only other encoder I have, because the E3 from Kiloview is gone. It's dead. It's shipped back, hopefully. The only other encoder I have at this point is the U-Ray. Problem, though, is I really had no way of getting audio out to the stream. I guess I could have plugged the receiver. I'm using the Rode Wireless Go. I could have plugged the receiver, I guess, into the camera, but I never had luck with that because there's a lot of interference and static and noise in the audio when I do that through the camera. And I think it's because I bought the cheap dummy battery AC power adapter, which is causing the interference. So that's not an option that wasn't an option for me. So really the only way, the easiest way for me to get audio out to you guys on this stream was to bring the Extreme down here, which is no big deal. So, okay. Yep, but it is the ATEM encoder. And yeah, so very cool. I'm going to ask one more time. Has there been any blips? Have you guys seen any pixelation? I'm curious because when Joe and I were testing him sending me an SRT feed a couple of weeks ago, we were having pixelation issues with the video, and we suspect it's because we didn't have the latency set properly. We tried figuring out the round trip latency, but there's a whole formula to that, and we never got that far to retest it again. We ran out of time. We had tried, but we ran out of time. So I'm just curious to whether or not the video has been super stable the whole time. Because if it has been, then we can rule out the Mr. Net and chalk it up to a strong suspicion that it was just that we had the latency set incorrectly when we were doing that testing. So in any event, let me know. Just comment 1 or 2 more times on the quality. So, and more so, did it pixelate at all while you guys were watching? Last thing I want to talk about while I'm here is the fact that I set up Uptime Kuma, God, a year or 2 ago after seeing Jeremy first talk about it on one of his live streams. And it intrigued me for a couple of reasons. 1, I thought it was a very, very cool monitoring program. 2, at that time, I was very much a newbie with virtual machines. So it was like, oh, this is cool. It'll give me the challenge of setting it up on a virtual machine and give me an option to monitor some of my network resources. But I never really did anything with it after that. I got it set up and it was like, cool, I achieved my goal, move on. But he's been speaking about it again recently, so it got me fired up about it again. But this time I'm running it on a Synology, basically it's Docker, but they call it Container Manager now. And what I like about the Container Manager is you can actually bring in the Docker Compose file and drop in the code and develop the project that way through Container Manager, which I may do a video on this week because it was just so super simple to do. and I got all my major resources set up in Uptime Kuma. Thank you, Jeremy. And what I played with last night, I mentioned Friday night that I had gotten Uptime Kuma running again, but I hadn't played with notifications. So last night I was playing around with the notifications, and I was looking at all of the different notification options that Uptime Kuma provides, and there are a lot. I ended up deciding to go with Slack, so I created myself a free Slack tier and created the webhook, brought it, put the webhook into the notification setup page on Uptime Kuma, and now I'm getting notifications if any of my resources go down through Uptime Kuma to Slack, which is great, because on the phone Slack comes in as a push notification, whereas versus getting an email. So I'm happy about that. So thank you, Jeremy, for constantly talking about different things, because I listen. It just takes me time to react and take action. So cool. Anyway, we are at 11 viewers and 5 likes. So that's pretty much all I have for you today. I'm going to go back to the comments one more time. While I go back to the comments, do me a favor. Let's see if we can get those likes a little higher, please. If nothing else, give me a like for freezing out here. Let's see. Practical IT says, I've seen a couple of blips, but I attribute that in part to my network issues I'm trying to track down. Yeah, good luck with that, Jeremy, and I hope you figure it out before your stream tonight, 9:45, correct? Practical IT with Jeremy Like, 9:45 tonight. PE Doers, it's been great quality the whole time I've been watching. Thanks, David. And Robert Simon says, top quality stream. Thank you guys so much. I do appreciate you. I do appreciate you taking 37 minutes to spend with me on a Sunday afternoon. And now it's time for me to end this stream, break all this stuff down, but make another cup of coffee so that while I'm breaking it down, I could stay warm. In any event, I want to thank you guys all for being here, and we'll see you all in the next video. Thank you.